Final score, Wrexham 1, Lincoln City 0. And this was a very satisfying win because for me, Lincoln looked like one of the better sides that have come to the racecourse this season. And I think that our ability to dig in and get the result was important. Lincoln could have come away with a reward from this game. They had chances, but they squandered them, if I not to put a finer point on it. They missed a few decent opportunities. Burton only had one save, and it was actually the first notable instant of the match. And after that, they kept threatening but not hitting the target, and therefore, for me, we deserved to win. Even though it was a bit fortunate, an own goal was the winning goal. But we had opportunities ourselves, and just that mentality that we made the most in the end of one situation. But anyway, interesting for Wrexham's point of view, same team as last Saturday, didn't have that same impact as we did on Saturday when we changed things around and immediately made a difference. And I think, frankly, part of that, I think, was because we didn't have the element of surprise. I think that Exeter were caught out by Phil Parkinson changing things around, and Lincoln had time to prepare for it. The other part of it, quite frankly, is that Lincoln looked a good sight better than Exeter as a team, and so they were capable of dealing with things anyway. And they started well. They had good delivery from Rowan, the left-sided centre-back, who had a great left foot, and he started putting in some good balls onto the head of Pordy O'Connor, the central centre-back, and these caused problems. And the first one was their big moment in a way, 12th minute of the game, free kick on the flank. I should say how it was conceded first, I think. Astounding decision by the referee to buck Lewis Brunt, who came across and body checked his man. It's a foul. I'm not arguing against that at all. It's a foul. It's not a violent foul at all. He goes hip to hip with the player, trying to ease him off the ball, and I think he does have a bit too much contact. Yeah, free kick. He books him. And immediately, I've got to be honest, in the commentary I was very stroppy about this because I just couldn't help. Every time there was any challenge, pretty much, I'd be thinking, well, why isn't that a yellow? And if Brunt got one? The other thing is that Brunt was the only player booked in this game. So the referee starts off by giving an incredibly harsh yellow card and then stops giving yellow cards, and there were most certainly worse challenges than Brunt's. Huge credit to Brunt, who was very good again, despite being on a yellow from so early on. He nearly knocked the Lincoln player that he fouled into the linesman. I wonder if the linesman is telling the ref, oh, it's a bad one, that's a bad one, because he has to jump out of the way. I'm not trying to be nasty. Maybe he's not quite seen it clearly because he's taken evasive action, and the referee feels, well, in that case, I'll take his word for it and book him. And really, the ref wasn't in a yellow card mood. I don't know, but anyway, it did make me feel, throughout then, that the ref, who had a peculiar game, should have been pulling out cards. Anyway, enough of that. Rowan from the free kick really ripped it in nicely. O'Connor got up about 7 yards out, clear header. Plants it downwards as well, and it's a great save by Callum Burton. Okay, if it's not quite in the corner, but frankly, if it's in the corner, no goalkeeper's going to save that, even Arthur Okonkwo with his gadget arms. But Burton gets down really well, a strong wrist, and is able to push the ball away with his right hand. An excellent, excellent save. A couple of minutes later, it's the same combination. Rowan with a free kick in a more innocuous situation this time, in the middle of the pitch. Stands it up towards the penalty spot. O'Connor again is the person who gets first contact. He looks offside to me, but, there's no conclusive proof of it. And although he's goal side to the defenders, it's dropping short, really, so he can't try and head on towards goal. So he nods it back to Cadamarteri, who tries a snapshot from the edge of the box and just pulls it a bit wide to the left-hand post. But Lincoln showing threat. Wrexham, the midfield's still functioning, but it's not having that devastating effect that it had against Exeter. Lincoln are protecting the ball better, and Wrexham are having to bide our time. But we start to make problems in the Lincoln penalty area, starting out halfway through the first half. Cleworth lofting the ball in and a shout for a penalty. Palmer claimed that he was fouled by Dariqua as he tried to get to it. There's only one angle of it. There's not enough in it from what I can see to give a penalty, personally. He's claiming Dariqua's holding him back. There's a nice inviting space in the middle of the penalty area, and Palmer's trying to attack it. And yeah, he can't get around Dariqua, but didn't look to be a huge amount of contact. And then it was Lincoln again getting forwards. This time Moylan on a free kick. He's a good player. He looked very tasty, ripping a nasty ball in from the left hand side into the goal mouth. One of those cross-come shots. And luckily for Wrexham, Matty James was able at the near post to prod a foot out and poke it just wide for a corner. If he hadn't, Callum Burton would have to deal with the horrible ball in through massive bodies. He must have seen it late. So James doing really well there to knock it behind. Wrexham then coming back ourselves, Lee and O'Connor, Pordy O'Connor that is, Tom O'Connor comes on right at the end. They both go for a header. And frankly, I think they distract each other. They're both, sort of battling with each other. They both miss it. And James McLean, very sharp, is on the flank, sees it's going to happen and nips inside, picks the ball up, great touch, works it quickly across to Barnett. Barnett swings the ball into the far post. Ollie Palmer is attacking it and puts it across the face of an open goal. It's a tough chance for him. Shame nobody was following in. But then, like I say, Lee is the player closest to him in this system usually, and he's the player who's created a loose ball. The two wing-backs are also the players who are getting close to him, and they're involved in the build-up. But yeah, Palmer was unlucky. Really stretching. It's quite close range, but he's beyond the far post. He's having to stretch a hell of a long way, and I didn't think he'd be able to get any sort of meaningful touch on it. I didn't think he'd be able to stop him going out for the goal kick. But he gets a strong left foot on it. It flies across the face of goal. And then it's Lincoln coming back up the other end again. Like I said, they were a side who showed genuine resistance and had a way forwards. Jeffries sweeping in across. It's a bit overhit. It ricochets around a little bit. It's a big shout for handball against Cadamarteri. I've got to be honest, looking back at it, I can't see it at all. And then Cadamarteri does really well to turn Rathbone in the box. He lays the ball back to the edge of the area. Erahan helps it on, and Moylan with a snapshot, but he pulls it again wide of the post. In the last minute of the 3 minutes before the half-time, is the best chance of the first half. A free kick from McLean. McLean's delivery, as I'll get to later, was impeccable from set pieces and from wide. He swept a great ball in, and Brunt gets up really well around the penalty spot, makes a great contact on it, and it slams against the crossbar. Unlucky for him. But I think it would have been a little bit harsh on Lincoln if they'd been behind at half-time. Wrexham a little sluggish compared to Saturday, certainly, and Lincoln, I thought, were controlled. However, the second half, Wrexham immediately improve. The intensity is really good. And also Palmer, he did this a little bit anyway, but more obviously starts bullying Dariqua. Now, Dariqua is experienced player, Jamaican international, and he knows what he's about. He usually plays wing back for them. He has played centre back too. It's not an alien position for him, but yeah, he's good going forwards, and he was looking quite good carrying the ball forwards from that wide centre back position. But when Palmer really started bullying him and the diagonals started coming in, Palmer starts really discomforting him. He has a rough time of it. I suppose we saw an indication with the penalty shout in a way Dweck was looking for other ways apart from beating him to the ball to try and stop him. But yeah, he starts to really trouble him and becomes an excellent outlet, Palmer. The first chance we had was Barnett going down the right, drawing two men to him to create space behind him and feeding it into Dobson, who feeds a great first-time cross in. Palmer gets it well at the far post, heads it down, but it's too straight at the keeper from about 6-7 yards out. Then another chance created by Dobson for Palmer. This one, another good diagonal by Dobson. Brilliant setup play by Palmer. Does ever so well. He's backing in on the edge of the area, takes it brilliantly on the chest and is able to turn on it, and all of a sudden, well, you're thinking, here's the goal. He's about 7 yards out, the ball's dropping there, the keeper has no protection, but maybe doesn't quite come down in time. Certainly Pordy O'Connor comes across and doesn't make contact with anything, but is lunging in, and Palmer maybe thinks he's got to, well, he's right, he's got to hit it before O'Connor's foot can reach the ball, and he skies it a long way over. Real shame for Palmer. Brilliant setup play. First chance that Lincoln had in the second half comes a good 20 minutes into it, and it's Moylan swinging in a corner beyond the far post, Wrexham style. O'Connor beats O'Connell to it at the far post and heads it back towards goal, and Ollie Palmer makes a crucial header off the line. Real dangerous moment for Wrexham. Within a minute and a half, we are ahead. This is how easily a game can turn, isn't it? This time it's Dobson. Dobson was excellent, I'll get to that later. But Dobson driving down the right-hand side superbly. And then once he started to come inside, playing a fine ball with the outside of his right foot to hit the gap and find McLean on the left. McLean rips in a powerful cross into the goal mouth, hits Dariqua and goes in for Wrexham's goal. Nobody really in the 6-yard box, which Al Nash has raised a question to me on social media. Was this deliberate? Does McLean do this? There's no goal earlier in the season, and I'm wondering if it was the same sort of thing. But certainly, McLean hit it in with power. It's got to be said, Dariqua made a bit of a mess of it. He takes a swing, misses, and it hits the standing leg and goes in. Not a happy second half for him. Wrexham are really buoyed by this. I've got to say, the crowd were outstanding, and especially in the second half, in the build-up to the goal. Wrexham hadn't been quite at our game in the first half. The crowd made a lot of noise to back the side up, a lot of noise to push the team on, and the players responded to it as well. It was one of those classic moments, this amazing relationship between the crowd and the players that Wrexham have got at the moment, absolutely bearing fruit. So yeah, a couple of minutes later, Wrexham are now powering on, and you think, oh, the second one's coming here. Barnett ripping in another fantastic cross to the far post. It's a tiny bit behind Palmer, but he's quite close in. He stretches and does really well to divert it on target, but again, puts it too straight, and the keeper's able to take it pretty easily. Soon after this, Elliot Lee is given a break, 17 minutes left. Paul Mullin comes on. Mullin again looks lively, and again his movement and pulling out wide, just dragging people about. We nearly concede a sloppy goal. A long ball, and McLean, who, like I said, was superb in all other regards, has a really horrible heavy touch, and it drops to Moylan, who again, he likes his first time strikes and snapshots, hits it first time again and pulls it just wide of the left post. Then we bring Andy Cannon on for Matty James, whose tank looks pretty empty by the end, but having said that, he's made it 77 minutes into his second game in 4 days, and considering his lack of match sharpness is excellent. More compliments coming his way later as well. And with 10 minutes left, again Lincoln pushing on are a bit unlucky. Jeffries sweeping a cross in. It takes a lucky ricochet off street and drops kindly for Makama, who's about 10 yards out, one-on-one with Burton, but he's having to stretch to get there, and Burton does the right thing. He gets up very quickly and makes himself big, and as a result, Makama, who's struggling to control the shot anyway, and having a keeper running straight at him, can't control it, and he puts it wide. There was another opportunity for Lincoln before we got into added time. McGrandles playing a ball over the top. Makama, was he off? Was he not? I don't think so. It's a tight call, but looking at it, the replays, I think he's right. He's running in. Brunt does really well to recover and get goal side of him. Makes a tackle, but loses his balance, and Makama's able to get to the loose ball. He's only about 7 yards out. It's a great chance, and Brunt, brilliantly off balance, manages to still stuck a foot out and get the block in. It's a fantastic piece of improvised defending, and Wrexham again have a bit of an escape. 2 minutes later, though, we're at the other end with another good chance. McLean whipping in a cross from the left-hand side. A beautiful cross. This is absolutely perfect. Mullin, 10 yards out, as just a keeper to beat. Takes the header and doesn't quite get it right. I have a lot of sympathy for Mullin. I know people are talking about him missing chances, and I've said a number of times, doesn't matter. Mullin's getting into those positions. They'll start to go in, and then they'll really keep going in. But on this occasion, I got sympathy as well, because it's a beautiful cross, but it is coming from behind over his shoulder, and it's not an easy one, I don't think, to guide accurately. He gets a good touch on it, and I think that's probably all he can hope for. But it's another one that's a bit too straight. Rathbone gets a break with a minute left. O'Connor coming on as a defensive midfielder once more, like he did last Saturday. And there is one more chance apiece, and you might argue they both should be goals. Firstly, It's McKiernan doing really well, tracking back and winning the ball in midfield. Great ball by Moylan then, sweeping it over towards the right-hand side to Street, and Street driving in the right channel, drills it. Brunt lunges in front of him, and again, possibly that saves us a goal. The shot by Street. It's not Street's wide. I just thought of that. Wish I hadn't actually said it as well. It's inches wide of the far post, with Burton unable to respond in times. It's an early, strong shot. So a real let-off for Wrexham. And then a real let-off for Lincoln as they came forwards. 4 minutes added. We're in the last of those. And Dariqua, just one last unhappy moment for him. He's the only player at the back. He looks to clear. Mullin charges his clearance down. It's a 2-on-1 break. Mullin does the right thing immediately. Well, no, bounces off Mullin to Palmer. So 2-on-1. Palmer's pass isn't spot on. And so Mullin has to go a little bit wide. It's now 3 against 2. And he can't get the cross in. Dariqua gets across and is able to deny us. There's a moment right at the end as well with Barnett breaking down the right. Great chance for him. I have a horrible feeling my notes have let me down. That might be this. Was that the same incident? No, it wasn't. Barnett has a glorious chance in the corner of the 6-yard box with seconds left and pulls it wide. But yeah, overall, really well contested game. When you think about all those chances, good chances, could have been 3-2, 2-2, easily. And Lincoln, I thought, did well. There were a few players of theirs that impressed me a lot. Interesting, Kadamatra had quite a quiet game. Of course, we apparently were interested in bringing him into the racecourse this season, but he had a pretty quiet game. Makama's pace caused us some issues. Jack Moylan looked really creative, and I liked the look of him a lot, and McGrandles protected them well at the back. Ethan Erhan has got a big reputation, and he just flitted out the game. Really was quite. I didn't notice him half as much as I expected. I was quite looking forward to seeing what he was about, because I've heard a lot of buzz about him. But looking at the Wrexham performances, I know that's what you're here for. Callum Burton, great save that in the 12th minute. Now, crucial save. That game's different if they score early when they're playing well. The back three again were good. Cleworth again, just one of those smooth, comfortable performances. Can't recall any points where he's put into any discomfort at all. In the middle, O'Connell again really defended the penalty area well. Very physical. Wasn't able to come out as much as he has last Saturday and at Stockport when he came on. But again, defending his penalty area well, which we needed to do, unlike last Saturday. And Brunt, again, was excellent, really impressive. I think sometimes he looks to nip in front of people and there's a danger they can turn him. I think sometimes there's a little danger, and it certainly was true of the Makama efforts, which he recovered brilliantly from, because he's got good pace, that he can step up the pitch. Maybe a little too much. He's not sure what's going on behind him sometimes. I'm picking hairs here. But he was excellent. He was excellent. So unlucky not to score. Really good defensively. Brought the ball forwards purposefully. Used the ball intelligently. That's enough adverbs for one sentence. Barnett was good again. Put in some great service for Palmer. And again, no problem defensively at all. On the other side, McLean, tremendous. Now, I'm now getting into man of the match territory, and I'm not totally sure what I'm going to say, because there were a few real contenders, and McLean is one of them. McLean was just constant energy. Apart from that one error at the back, he was sound at the back. The quality of his crossing was the best I think he's put in for Wrexham. Absolutely outstanding. So he's a man of the match contender. I might make my decision at the end. Brunt is a man of the match contender. When you look at the centre mids, Dobson as well. It's interesting seeing him freed up a little bit. So instead of being central, he's to the right of the midfield three, because he can drive forwards with the ball. And he did that so well. There was a lot of good passing from Dobson in this match. Used the ball, going forwards, trying to be progressive. Carried the ball forwards well. Beautiful example of that is when he sets up McLean to drive the ball in for the goal. I really was impressed with Dobson. He's a great player. I like him a lot. So is Matty James. And you just can't help thinking, okay, he's not match fit yet. Can't wait to see him in a month. Matty James is class again, just regulating the thing in midfield, just pulling all those strings, and he's got his head up and he sees people ahead of him and he can feed them in and he can support them in case they can't go forwards. But he's a touch of class in midfield. He's very excited to have landed him. It makes me feel a bit of when Scott Green came in with the 2003 promotion season and just really stiffened up midfield. Rathbone, again, man of match contender, I would say. Again, full of energy. Wasn't quite the sort of unhuman effort and quality he put in on Saturday. But again, he wears the players down. He's quick. He gets back to defend. He gets forward to support the strikers. Very, very good. Lee did well again too, just dropping off Palmer and joining in midfield sometimes, creating sometimes, and a good performance by him. Palmer, yeah, interesting, we left him on till the very end. I think it was partly because of the fact that Lincoln were looking very good from Rowan's set-piece delivery, because he headed that one off the line, and so I think we made sure he had the 90 minutes rather than switch him out and then maybe have somebody else marking who's not as good in the air and we can see the goal. Missed chances, yeah, absolutely. But that's life. It's the life of a striker. The important thing, like with Mullin, is that you get in the way, get in there again next time and go for it again, and the goals will come. But I thought it was a very good performance by Palmer. Looking at the subs, O'Connor came on very late. Can't make any fair judgment on him. Cannon, likewise, good energy when we were trying to defend. Mullin, again, very lively. Shame he did that one goal that he really needs, I think, to kickstart him. Man of the match then. Dobson, McLean, Brunt. McLean. Really impressive. Really impressive. But that was fun. It was a good game between two good sides. Lincoln have done a little wobble of form lately, but they're going to be up there. They missed out narrowly last season on the playoffs, and they'll be there or thereabouts again this season. That's a really good 3 points. So very satisfactory from Wrexham's point of view. With a final score of Wrexham 1, Lincoln City 0, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.